The bid stream is where publishers send to buyers of advertising every ad request to try and monetize the users on their website. Historically, this has been driven by the use of cookies or a cookie ID that would come to the buy side that we would be able to bid and decide if that made sense for the marketer using that DSP. What we see today is the cookie is not available 65% of the time in the bid stream, and it continues to decrease day by day as iOS 15 rolls out, 14.5 starting with that, and Android, there's more updates coming in the future. So more and more we see the cookie deprecating out of the bid stream by the end of the year into a substantial spot. The only place we see the cookie available today is in one area of the programmatic ecosystem. So if you're using cookies, that means you're buying ads and measuring the Chrome web browser today. Everything else doesn't utilize a cookie, so you have to find a new way forward. With no cookie, you have no data. With no data, there's no targeting. With no targeting, there's no measurement, and that supply chain starts to break down. So I think the biggest thing is with that cookie going away, there's no behavioral web surfing data that marketers used as the primary tactic. So you need a new way forward. How else do you target now without cookies?
I think retargeting overall is something the ad tech ecosystem is trying to figure out. How can we solve for this in the future in a privacy compliant manner? I don't think anyone necessarily have a solution yet. As an advertiser, it's more important to think about if cookies are going to go away, how do you really leverage, there's a lot of discussion about first-party identity graph and how do you leverage that to build a more robust customer journey to understand what's the right moment to serve the right message.
If the old way was this universal cookie, what's the new way forward? The new way, the answer is broadly people-based, and let's just unpack what those two words mean. It means if you have someone's name, address, phone number, email, CRM-style data, so you lose retargeting, but you get the ability to what we call onboard your customer data and market to them directly through these publishers. If you think about the ID Facebook operates, they understand email addresses. If you think about the open web, it was a cookie ID, and it's just going to be a bridging of the gap on what is that common ID that's used between all of them. Because in today's world, Facebook is no different than the open web now that Apple has made these changes on their device.
CTV gives us a little bit of an advantage of like what you didn't have in TV, the trackability. We actually were testing with Viant on something is like where we are actually able to identify the households actually in a specific geolocation, and how are we activating based off of certain programming. With the data still to come out, but I hope it's actually doing very well. So those are the places where you're starting to connect the data with connected TV. I think where we are is we have to start to look at performance. Like your ROI is not going to be the same as you had historically. If you had, I'm just making it up, like $3 as an ROAS or ROI, you need to figure it out, what is that level setting, and start testing it now into the cookie-less platforms or partners, and start baselining that so that by 2023, when it actually starts to hit, you have some numbers to be able to build those forecasts.
Yeah, and I think from a brand perspective, right, a lot of advertisers have partnerships, and when you think about renewing your partnerships, you should really think hard about how do you negotiate the data component. In the past, it may be just using the partner's native data for targeting, for whatnot, but measurement, MTA, being able to get the correct data back is going to be instrumental to how you rebuild your measurement solution as well.
The biggest increase I've seen in measurement, where you may be struggling some within e-commerce, specifically Apple devices that have deleted all these identifiers, if you've moved to people-based, you've gained in-store sales measurement and attribution. And for many marketers, that's absolutely huge. That's one of the big advantages when you get off of cookies and you move to people-based, is that it kind of unifies the digital and physical worlds for everybody. I think with that, once you get out of the cookie world, move out of that anonymous world, move into that first-party data world, you gain in-store sales measurement. You gain a more holistic view of what your returns are from the ad spend in the market.
If you are in the position where clients are asking for, start, I think, seeding that, what does cookieless future mean? Because having this conversation now is, I know Google actually pushed it to 2023, so there's already tons of cookieless platform that's going on right now with CTV, to start testing those, start figuring it out, and I think that's where it still is at a phase, it's still early, but there are certain components of some of the old advertising, the way we used to do it, and some of the bringing something old, something new is what I call, is going to be the good way for us to move forward. And I think that's what you need to start as if you are in the agency or in a situation where you're talking to the clients. I think building that roadmap for them, I think, is going to be a good way to have that conversation.